I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Oops, the podcast. I'm Francis and he's Giulio. Hey, Giulio.
Hey, dude. How you doing?
Oh, baby. Yes. Energy is high. Spirits are soaring. Chris is in a t-shirt, even though it's freezing. You are wearing a Lakers hat in commemoration of the late, great Kobe Bryant.
I am indeed.
You know, as the time of this episode drops, we will be about a week and a half, maybe a week or so removed from Kobe's untimely passing. And I'm sure that the news cycle will have become tough for people to. You reach a point where it's so sad that you don't really want to read about it anymore.
Right.
And that's nothing to. That's not speaking ill of Kobe, of course. I think the time for remembering him, we will always remember him. But I have had a hard time with the internet over the last 7 days.
You're not the only person saying that.
I can't handle any more of it.
It's a lot.
And it's not no disrespect to Kobe. I just, it's so sad that like you can only watch grown men weep over it and hear it's so many times, right?
Right. Dude, I saw a girl post a picture. I sent this to you. She's like, Kobe, you were such a great da-da-da-da. And she posted a picture of Dwight Howard.
Yeah, that's clearly, moron.
That's bad.
Well, the BBC posted in the immediate news break, they posted video of LeBron.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that too.
And
then also the girl who said Knicks and Lakers combined.
And it sounded like the N-word. All of that. I mean, big time oops, for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Having said that, I think it's one thing to screw up your coverage or to have a slip of the tongue like that in the hour after the news broke. But if you are screwing it up and you're posting footage of LeBron or something like a day or two after as a major news outlet,
that's bad.
That's really bad.
It's bad.
But I'm saying, like, I understand someone on the editing floor
just like
splicing
very quickly
together,
okay.
And what with also LeBron playing for the Lakers and also surpassing Kobe's for third all time on the point scoring thing, it makes it's a little more forgivable.
It's a little bit
who
more
cares?
Makeable.
Yeah,
agreed.
And not for nothing, to get mad at that woman for somehow putting the N-word together as a combination or whatever. Does anyone really think she was trying to be racist?
Dude, and it also doesn't necessarily sound like an actual racial slur.
No.
It sounds like exactly what she said it was.
Can we give her the benefit of the doubt?
She's absolved.
That shit, and not that it's for us to absolve her, but but would anyone be that stupid as to, does this mean that woman shoots from the hip and throws the N-word around all the time?
Definitely not.
I don't think we could say that necessarily.
Yeah.
So let's keep some perspective here. Obviously, it is one of the worst tragedies I've ever felt. I was so kind of unable to process it. I don't know. It affected me more than my grandparents passing.
It was really, dude. That's an interesting thing.
Isn't that crazy?
It's very accurate.
I thought about
profound
that.
Tragedy.
This affected me more than the death of my grandparents.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to think if that resonates with me, and it definitely. I don't know if I can say the same, but like it definitely resonates.
I'm sorry to my grandparents for saying that, but this is true.
Well, maybe that means your grandparents had a good run.
Maybe it
cut shortedness of this tragedy.
Maybe it doesn't mean that they did a good run. That maybe they should have given me better presents at Christmas, and I would have been sadder.
You're like, no, I just didn't like them, dude.
It's like how does a $50 check compare to a 50-point night at Madison Square Garden? Like, one mental more to me,
Dude.
Kobe's performances. You know how many times I've watched that 81-point game on YouTube?
Crazy. And wasn't that because his mom came to watch him or something?
I think it was, I don't know. I remember it came in the midst of him scoring a whole bunch of like 60-point games. And
Right.
dude, he was James Harden before James Harden. In the year after the rape allegation, I remember him just like scoring so many points that it was comical.
Right.
But also at a time when his Lakers were very bad.
Right.
Anyway,
Dude, I heard
sorry.
no, it's okay. I heard about it. I was telling you this. I just happened to be visiting the Statue of Liberty for the first time.
Yeah.
When I heard about this. And it was insane because it had just broken and it wasn't even really on the news anywhere yet. It was just on TMZ. Like it had just happened. So it was insane to watch everybody on that island find out and hearing people in different languages talking about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I literally heard Kobe Bryant probably in 5 different languages.
Wow.
It was a really crazy, like,
Yeah,
global thing.
Kobe
Dude.
Bryant.
Dude, literally. It was crazy.
Who do you think that was?
I don't know.
Japan.
Oh, really? It's
That's
a
Japanese. That's how they say it. Yeah. And apparently Kobe did a lot for Japan because of the bringing Kobe beef to the fore.
Really?
Yeah.
That's true?
Dead serious.
That's crazy.
Yes, you can look that up. He affected the market for Kobe beef
Holy shit.
because due to his, imagine if Kobe had been like some bench player that nobody knew,
Right?
right? Kobe being synonymous with greatness made everyone think probably that Kobe beef was
Right.
the
Better.
highest quality.
That's crazy.
Yeah, put Kobe beef on the global map.
So, dude, my family's really, like, my dad loves Kobe too because Kobe lived in Italy.
Italy, big
And
Italian.
all the Italians love the fucking guy. So,
Hearing him speaks
Italian fluently.
is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah,
Always made me think, what a Renaissance man.
100%.
Went to prom with Brandy. A lot of people forget that.
He did?
Yeah. High school prom with Brandy. That was a big
Jeez.
thing.
How?
I would guess he asked her and she was like, "Oh yeah, big high school basketball star."
He was a big star already.
Yeah, he was Lower Merion,
Lower Merion.
in PA, right?
So this coronavirus is a thing that people are a little shook about. And the market took a big tumble on Monday. It appears to have recovered since and may continue recovering. But I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say that this is not gonna be a big deal. I'm 1 for 1 so far. I predicted the Iran thing de-escalating, which I'm proud of.
And now, geopolitics with Giulio Gallerati.
Well, anyway, so there's reasons to believe that this quote unquote outbreak will be much more contained. First of all, it's less severe than the whole SARS situation.
Okay.
China, although they covered it up initially, the period with which they covered it up was significantly shorter than the last time. The last time it took them about 3 months to kind of admit what was happening with the SARS situation. And this one, it was happening in a couple of weeks. They appear to be taking measures to prevent the spread. So I think we don't really have anything to worry about. However, I stumbled upon a very interesting article written by Lori Garrett in Foreign Policy magazine. She has spent a lot of time in areas where there are epidemics happening. I guess that you call it epidemic. And she made a list of 10 things you can do if you're in an area that's having an outbreak to make sure that you do not get it.
And this woman is sort of the outbreak whisperer.
Apparently.
She is the expert. But this woman has lived through multiple epidemics.
She was there for SARS.
She's
never gotten it, and she doesn't wear the masks either. So all you fucking bozos walking around with the masks on over your face, you don't need to be doing that.
Maybe we should consider the fact that old Lori just has built up an incredible immune system and has no susceptibility to these diseases.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so here's the list of 10 things by Lori Garrett that you could do to prevent yourself from getting some kind of virus situation if it's present where you are.
Okay. Yeah.
Number 1, when you leave your home, wear gloves, winter mittens or outdoor gloves, and keep them on in subways, buses, and public spaces.
Okay.
Seems reasonable enough. Number 2, if you are in social situations, excuse me, take that back. Jesus Christ. All right. Number 2, if you are in social situations where you should remove your gloves, perhaps to shake hands or dine, do not touch your face or eyes, no matter how much something itches.
Ooh.
Keep your hands away from contact with your face And before you put your gloves back on, wash your hands thoroughly with soap and warm water, scrubbing the fingers, put your gloves back on.
I'm going to pause you for 1 second. Did you see the movie Contagion?
No.
Oh, really?
don't
It's
think
pretty
so.
good. It also became like a trending movie that everyone started watching again when this outbreak happened.
Oh, really?
It was like hot on Netflix.
And it's about this kind of shit?
Well, I remember them saying the average American or average person touches their face something like, 480 times a day. And we don't even realize it.
Dude, after I read this bullet point, I made a point to myself. I was like, I'm not touching my face for the rest of the day. And before I was finished with the list, I caught myself scratching my face.
Us talking about touching our face is making my face itch. I want to touch my face so badly
My
right
face
now.
itches too.
Ah!
Okay,
Okay.
dude, we're
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
a couple of fucking turkeys, dude.
couple of turkeys here. Gobble, gobble. Yeah.
All right, number
Keep
3.
going.
This is when this stuff starts to get tricky. Number 3, change gloves daily, washing them thoroughly, and avoid wearing damp gloves. That sounds already like pain in the ass.
I don't have that many pairs of gloves.
Number 4, masks are useless when worn outdoors and may not be very helpful even indoors. Most masks deteriorate after 1 or 2 wearings. Using the same mask day after day is worse than useless. It's disgusting.
Ew.
Blah, 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 bacteria, whatever.
So she's saying leave the mask, but
Yeah.
take the gloves.
Yeah, it's really just not good for you to even wear the mask.
Okay.
Number 5, inside your household, remove all of the towels from your bathrooms and kitchens immediately. Replace them with clean towels and have the names of each family member on them. Instruct everybody in your home to only use their towels. Never touch another family member's.
I tell my girlfriend not to use my towels, but she does it anyway.
Really?
Yeah, it drives me fucking
Are
crazy.
you serious?
Yeah. Because we don't have monogrammed towels. They're all just gray, generic towels, Bed Bath & Beyond.
So you don't like when she uses yours?
I want us to have our own towels. I want her to have hers and then me to have mine. I don't want us sharing towels.
How come?
There's a lot. Vaginas have a lot going on. I don't want vagina crumbs on my face. I think she's got to get up in there to dry. I'm not excavating my penis with the towel that could then end up on her face.
Proud of my investigative journalism here.
Keep
dude.
it going.
We got to the bottom.
Starting to piss me off.
Number 6, be careful with doorknobs. If it's possible to open and close doors with your elbows or shoulders, do so.
You know how much of a psychopath you're going to be looking to the guy wearing fucking blue plastic gloves, just fist bumping everybody, opening doors with your elbows, changing your towels, monogramming everything.
Oh man, dude, you're going to hate this. And similarly, be cautious with stairway banisters, desktops, cell phones, toys, laptops, any objects that are handheld.
Oh,
AKA
yeah.
Everything.
Just gonna raw dog stairs, fucking walk down willy-nilly, hands in the air. You know how hard it is to take stairs at night without the railing?
Yeah, man. These are tough. If you share meals, do not use your personal chopsticks or utensils to remove food from serving bowl or plate. That's
Feels a
really
little
standard.
racist that she started with chopsticks.
I was thinking that too. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Absolutely do not buy, slaughter, or consume any live animal or fish until it is known what species was the source of the virus. In this case, I think it was bats and cats.
Yeah,
right? So,
it's a lot of bats. I think we got to remove bats from the old menu. You know what I mean?
dude, I was talking to Ricky Velez yesterday, and he's like, dude, why the fuck are they eating bats?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, seriously,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Oh,
All
my
right.
face itches again. Oh.
All right, 2 more. When the weather allows, open your windows at home or work, letting your space air out. And finally, if you're caring for a friend or family member who is running a fever, always wear a tight-fitting mask when you are near them, and place one on the ailing person unless they are nauseated.
Okay, so she does come back and
Right.
she promotes the mask in the last. That seems almost like it contradicts her earlier point.
Right, that is interesting. I think she meant keep the masks fresh, like don't reuse them.
Yeah.
When you replace an old dirty mask from the face of your friend or loved one, be very, very careful. Assume for the sake of your protection that it is covered in viruses, and handle it while wearing latex gloves. Place it inside of a disposable container, seal it, and then put it in the trash.
Dude, see, this is why I could
It's
never
a lot
be a
of work.
doctor.
Yeah,
you know? What are these doctors who have to go to the hospitals that are at ground zero of these outbreaks?
Dude.
Are they just that dedicated and to their job that they believe so strongly? You're going to get it.
Yeah.
If your whole day is handling and working with people that are infected, aren't you going to get it?
Like, right? In theory. No, I see what you're saying. It's so stressful.
I would be like, sorry, I'm going to take some vacation days at this time. I'm going to Hawaii.
I am leaving
where
Wuhan.
It's quarantined, and I'm just going to surf for 2 weeks until this all quiets down a little bit.
That would likely be the move.
Yeah.
At the end of the article, it says, do not panic. Be safe.
Yeah.
It sounds like we should potentially panic
That's
if you're
always
going to
make me panic more than if someone doesn't say don't panic. Guys, we're going to mix things up a little bit today. We recorded with Remi Kasmir from How Come podcast, and the interview was so interesting to us that we went pretty long. So we're going to actually incorporate part 1 of our interview with Remi Kasmir for the second half of this episode today. And then, of course, our full episode with Remi will, part 2, come out on Thursday. So here is Remi Kasmir. Oh boy, it's Oops the Podcast. I'm Francis. He's Giulio. G, how are ya?
Good, man. How you doing?
Boy, I'm excited for our guest today. You know her.
Oh, yeah. Know her well.
Yeah.
Remi Kasmir.
Remi Kasmir.
Woo!
How are you, Remi?
I'm great. How are you guys? I'm so happy to be here.
Man, we're thrilled to have you. It's Remi Kasmir. She is the host of How Come, the podcast about orgasms
Yeah.
and lack thereof,
Yes.
and how to help people find a way to come.
Yes.
You are one of the OG podcasters, I would say.
No.
Well, maybe not.
No, not at all.
Going back too far, but yeah, enough
You
ahead
are
of the
old.
curve.
No, I'm not.
You're our elder in the podcast.
I am
We're
your
elder.
elder. Actually, I feel in some way as if I begat you.
Oh.
Not really. But
Also,
You know how-
I haven't heard begat ever.
not from the Bible.
I've heard begets, but I wouldn't have known that begat
And
was
Adam
the past.
begat. I don't even know what Adam's kids were named.
Adam begat Eve.
I would have thought it was
no.
begot.
What were their kids? Their kids were one was the bad one and one was
Cain
the good.
and Abel?
Cain and Abel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cain begat Oops the Podcast.
Yeah. Oof. Cain.
Yeah. No, but was my
Cain.
podcast one of the first ones that you had ever done?
It may have been the first podcast
Yeah.
I ever did.
Yeah.
Unless,
episode
was I
got
at Barstool
cut.
there?
Yeah, you were.
What happened,
Well, then
guys?
I'd probably been on one at Barstool because they were
Okay,
like,
yeah,
big
that's
on
true.
podcasts.
Yeah,
I've never
podcasts
heard
have been
this
around
story.
Forever. You've never heard this story?
No, and I
Not from
want to.
either of us?
No.
That's so stupid because both of us love to talk shit. And we love to talk about like shitty situations we were in. And it was a shitty situation. And we've talked about it since. So like we're cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But,
I'll be honest with you. I'm going to plead ignorance on this because
What?
First, no. You'll agree. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Well, I will
And then
explain that
I
in my
also-
telling of the story.
I also didn't realize until after that it had gone poorly.
Oh.
Hilarious.
I had no idea.
That's amazing.
Until Remi, like years later, was like, when you did my podcast, it was the worst episode we've ever done, and we didn't even run it.
Well, that's not true. It's not the worst one we'd ever. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know what How Come is, like, yes, we talk about orgasms, but it started because I had never had one. I really wanted to learn how, and I wanted to be held accountable because, like, people had given me tips, but then I'd always, like, kind of give up. And so I was like, all right, how do you stay accountable? Podcasting. So the second episode the first episode we recorded, great. That one lives on forever. The second one was with Francis and his girlfriend at the time, who was a friend of mine. And I was like, oh, this will be great. They're a couple. We can talk about like my problems and like how they have sex. Cause that's usually like what everyone tells me is like how they come. And like, that's where the tips come from. And I was like, they look like such a sturdy couple and they're both like hot and they're both like big on social media. So like, that'll be good for the numbers.
Can I pause you really quick?
Sure.
Were we the second episode ever? Of the
Ever.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, it was like in a time of like I always say it was like coming out as anorgasmic because everybody like who finds out like looks at you like you have 9 heads or like they feel so bad for you or what. Like it was not fun, but and I feel like really brave that I did it. But so so yeah, I had messaged my friend and I was like, yeah, and we didn't know each other that well. We had met like once at a birthday party
Right,
where we like
right.
established we were both comics, and yeah, it was like seems like a nice guy. And so I reached out to her and I was like, oh, would you guys be down to do this together? And she was like, totally. And I was like, but make sure you tell him what this podcast is about because it's a really sensitive topic to me. And like, yeah, like I'm not anything right now. So like, I just need a lot of support in this. And she was like, definitely, got it. And when you guys showed up, I think you guys had maybe been fighting, but I wasn't sure. And it just seemed to me like you were so pissed to be there. And you were just like, why am I at this fucking non-studio apartment? Like,
I have to be honest. I did
no,
not have that
you were
feeling
not
at all.
mad?
I was so high
Okay.
from the weed that you guys had
Yeah.
that I didn't know where I was.
We did, yeah.
But
that
there
an
was no
accident.
bad feeling. I felt
Okay.
giggly and goofy and floaty.
I have trashed the episode, so we cannot look back at it because it was traumatic to me. But it, like, maybe you were in your head high or whatever. But the second I said, like, this is what the podcast is about, you were like, what? You were like, that's crazy. This is insane. What the fuck? Also, like, both of you were so tight-lipped on your own sex lives, and you didn't want to talk about exes because God forbid. But you were both like, when we have sex, we both come and it's fantastic. We're both super hot. And I was just, and like, there must be something wrong in your relationship.
Horrible.
Yeah, there must be something wrong in your relationship. And so then I went home and I started hysterically crying to Ben, who's Giulio's best friend. And my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I was crying to Giulio's best friend. No, and I was like,
one thing led to another, you know how these things go.
Then we started fucking. No, so my boyfriend, I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't come out to the world because like, I was like, even Francis thought I was like such a freak. And also it was funny because the dynamic was, I think you were under the impression that the podcast had a lot of followers and she kept saying, no one's listening to this. So it was this weird like tug and pull of
it's
like,
also very insulting.
it was fucking insulting and sad and like,
but I'm on the right side of that.
yeah, no, you were,
sure
but
are.
you just didn't really want to talk about your sex life and you thought it was crazy that this had never happened to me
Yeah. I remember it being insanely high and because you guys are all real professional weed
stoners.
smokers.
Yeah.
And all of you did the pre-podcast joint pass. And I was like, when in Rome.
Yeah.
And then I was just an absolute noodle.
Yeah.
But
also you should have known what it was coming in. That was really
that was
fucked
the part,
up.
That was the part that
you
was
were
weird.
blindsided.
You guys kept me in a room down the hall while you and she started and went for like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was like a joke, supposed to be like a joke on me. So I felt like I was being got.
Oh, really? Okay, so no, the format of the podcast when it first started, like before I had come, spoiler alert, I come now. Pew, pew, pew.
Wow.
Yeah. 6 episodes in, I totally blew my load real early. But the format, well, thank you. Format was I would sit with somebody that I was really comfortable with first to discuss how I was doing that week and how last week's assignment had gone, because somebody would give me an assignment and then I had to do that. So like the first episode I sat with my sister, the second one was with my friend from college who was your girlfriend at the time. So it was like always a 30-minute segment before the other person.
Oh, I see.
How long did you date this person, Francis?
Probably 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, did you go to BU?
Mm-hmm.
So you two went to school together.
Giulio and I have known each other since I was probably 14.
Remy's been following me around for my
Stop it.
Holy moly.
Stop it. Giulio's been casually where I've been going my whole life.
Remy follows me
Okay,
around.
let's not play the Christopher Columbus game.
Well, is there more to
Yeah.
this story first? Because we'll get into that. I want to hear.
I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of I will say this. I do not have such traumatic memories from that night.
Well, of course, it wasn't like a big that was one of the biggest deals. The podcast now is like the biggest deal of my life because it's something that was like real sensitive to me.
Totally.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, there was no part of me that was like, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
This stinks. Like, and I also don't really remember feeling so judgmental of you for having not come. The only thing I can explain as to why you walked away from that feeling those ways about me was that I was very in the dark.
Yeah.
I was very confused, but that was meant to be like a joke on me.
No, it wasn't. I wrote her, and I'll show you the thing. Before I said, make sure he's not coming in cold. He needs to know that this is what's happened. This was last week's assignment. This is what I've done so far. Like everything that you would be in the rundown.
I think she thought it would be funny to surprise me.
Well, she was not my producer, and she should not have done that.
That's for you to work out.
I agree.
I'm scared.
Caught in the crossfire.
No, I've talked to her about it too. Like, it was just, yeah. And also, like, you know, when you're insecure about something and you like put feelings on other people like that, I was probably definitely doing that as well.
Got it.
Because it was a number one insecurity of mine.
Well,
and I was like really in my head because at the time in my relationship, like we weren't that solid. So I was like, here's this glowing, beautiful couple that's coming constantly, and my boyfriend can't even write me a love letter. You know?
Well, you guys are still together.
And you're not.
There you go.
And so that was the thing.
There it is.
Afterwards, I'm like crying to him, and I was like, I can't do this. This couple's so perfect. And he goes, oh, they're probably fucking other people. They'll break up in a week. And you guys broke up in like 2 weeks.
Ben Stradamus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
For the record, we were not fucking other people.
No, that's what he just makes me feel.
As far as I know.
No,
But-
neither of you were fucking other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. But that was and then we started to run into each other more on the comedy scene, which was great. And it's great to have you finally here.
I know. I'm so happy.
On Oops the podcast.
It's great.
And so great.
Remi and I go way back. It's really funny how our lives have just had parallels. I used to give tennis lessons at this tennis club in the Hamptons. For 2 summers when I was in college.
And I worked at the desk.
Remi worked there. You weren't a babysitter?
I was.
Did you
I
work in the
I did
daycare?
many jobs there. I was
Okay.
a counselor. Sometimes I babysit. Sometimes I was a hitter for tennis. But mostly I worked behind the desk.
So Remi was like so I taught this program that was kind of like for the quote unquote good players at the program. There were some decent kids in the program.
Oh, I was in WTT.
You were too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Remi was in it as well.
Wow.
But I remember Remi was like the cougar of the kids there. Like all the kids who were like 12 and 13 wanted to bang Remi.
Wow.
And I wanted to bang them too.
They thought Remi was like a minx.
Yeah.
So yeah, everyone.
This silver-haired fox who's 24.
No, dude, she was like 15. Bro. And all these fucking 12-year-old prepubescent kids were all fucking rocked up for Remi, dude.
Yeah.
Rocked up.
It was funny.
Yeah. No, but we all thought they were like all the older girls. Like we thought that the small boys were hot too. It was like very problematic.
That's funny.
Like me and you don't remember her, but this other girl wrote like a song to skater boys, but it was like, they are our tennis boys. It was disgusting.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really bad.
Yeah. I was trying to explain it to Ben recently. I was like, yeah, there was this kid named Len. He was like 9.
Len Chenfeld.
And he was 2 feet tall, and we all thought he was so hot.
Shout out Len Chenfeld.
Yeah.
Chenfelds are good people.
You don't meet too many Lens anymore.
Len.
I know. Len, Noah, and Dylan, the 3 brothers.
Yeah. Shout out to the Chenfelds.
The
They
Chenfelds.
rule.
They're fucking badass.
Yeah. They skateboard and shit.
What tennis club was this?
This is called Sport Time Amagansett.
Yes.
In Amagansett, which is part of
Sounds
East Hampton.
fancy, yeah.
It's the vibe isn't too fancy.
The vibe's not fancy.
It is
yeah, it's
fancy
in a
people
fancy place.
not being fancy.
Is
Yeah.
it all whites?
No.
No.
But
Oh,
it's
you
a
don't
lot
have to
of
wear all whites.
But like,
No, that's what I meant.
You
That's what I
don't.
mean.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you thought racially.
Yeah, I did.
No, that's
that applies in there's
I mean,
all
there's
races.
another club,
Yeah.
Maidstone, which is all whites and all whites.
No Jews.
No Jews. My
Yeah.
dad's been trying to get in for years. I'm like, they don't want you, Joel.
Yeah. Sorry, pal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that club, and it's funny how much that those 2 summers affected my future. Like the people that I live with now, I
Yeah.
met there. Teddy is one of my
Yeah.
best friends. I met him, Remi, obviously, and a variety of other people. So it's been very impactful.
Yeah, and Giulio was a senior at BU when I was a freshman.
Right. So
And
we went to
I
school
had
together.
a very sexually active roommate who would always have guys over, and she'd always kick me out, and I'd be like, well, I don't have funny fucking friends. It's like my first year of school, but I knew Giulio, so I'd be like, can I like come over to your house? And I just like watch him play Zelda until she was done.
Oh yeah, my roommate would make her play,
Yeah.
or we'd smoke weed and like hang out and shit. It was fun.
Yeah, and I had to be like book girl. You know, before you had to go look up cheats, there was like the book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Remi was
Oh.
instrumental in
Yeah.
our video game playing.
Okay.
Who's your roommate?
She's an actress now.
Oh really?
Yeah, but she dropped out of school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is
after
she
that
doing
year.
well?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with actors.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to tell with anybody on like Facebook. Like some of my friends will come up to me some weeks and they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're crushing it." I'm like, I want to kill myself.
All right. Well, anyway, you were born and raised in the city.
Yep.
So school ends. I'm doing comedy. You
Yes.
graduate. You come to the city, and you were hanging out with us
Yeah.
before you had started doing comedy. At
Yeah.
what point in your head were you like, maybe I should do this too? Like, had you always thought about it? I've never asked you this.
That's so cool that you've never asked me this and then I get to do it on your podcast. So
Yeah,
I
that's cool.
always wanted to do stand up since I was like 14 years old. Like ever since
14.
14. 4. Well, no, I always wanted to be on SNL.
Mhm.
That was like, I think a lot of New York kids grow up watching it. And I just always felt like, oh, my friends are hanging out without me. Like I really want to be on that show. And then when all the Comedy Central half hours started coming out, I would download them on Kazaa.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like illegally. And so I was like obsessed with Nick Swartzen and Maria Bamford and Pablo Francisco. And I would just
Oh, wow.
memorize all those specials over and over and over. And every year in my diary, I'd be like, this is what I want to do this year is like stand up. But I didn't see anybody in our world doing that. Like, especially like even on TV, like there weren't many women who looked like me or like came from the Upper East Side. Like it was like, you don't do that.
Right.
Like you marry a doctor, Remi. You don't do a stand up. So then when I went to school, and one of my roommates was in school for like comedy writing, I was like, okay, that's her thing. And then you started doing it and I was like, okay, stand up's Giulio's thing.
Right.
And yeah, I didn't realize for a while that it could be my thing too. And then I started improv. Do you remember when we ran into each other on the subway?
Yes.
And we hadn't seen each other in like a year or something. And you were like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I just started UCB. I really love it. And you're like, that place is a cult. And I was like,
Great. Very. I'm glad I was so supportive.
no, but I was like, yeah, it is. It's really like culty mentality and like, it's great. But like, you were like, yeah, I don't know. Stand-ups and improvs don't really, whatever. And it's true. Like a lot of stand-ups look
It's
down on
different.
improv.
It's not that. Yeah.
But
like they're different avenues.
They're totally, yeah.
Right.
And then, yeah, I was doing improv for a while. And then somebody saw me, TJ Del Reno saw me
Oh,
at a
wow.
jam and came up to me afterward and he said, you're really good. You should do stand up. And I was like, I know, right? And then he taught me the ropes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's good to know that you were downloading specials before. Because this whole
Oh my
time I
God.
was like, Remi coming around,
Just trying to fuck.
taking my friends and dating them, fucking
No.
leeching and learning stand. I'm fucking around.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah, no,
though.
I feel, I mean, even Ben, like, said it to me like a while after we'd been dating. He's like, well, you started stand up after we started hooking up. And I was like, no.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You had started. Yeah, that's yeah. You had
Yeah.
started messing around with.
Yeah.
How long did you stay at UCB for?
I did all of it. I finished advanced and then I was on an indie team for like a year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then that's how I kind of got good quickly I was like, you guys, I think I want to do stand up now. And they were like, that's great. You can still do our shows, but like, do you want to open with like 10 minutes of stand up before every show? And I was like, yeah. And doing stand up in front of an improv audience is like the nicest thing in the world because they don't expect, anything. So then like written humor, they're like, wow,
Right.
this is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.